In 2008, an Iowa Central Community College wrestler by the name of Jonathan Jones made his MMA debut. I believe at 19 or 20 years old. He won his MMA debut in the first round via knockout. He then went on to have a few fights and then joined the UFC just 4 months after his MMA debut. He made his debut against Andre Guzman and won a very dominant decision. John Jones was then a prospect that everyone should look out for, and the reason they should have looked out for him was because he then went on to win the UFC light heavyweight belt in, I believe, just 3 years after that against Shogun Rua in a dominant performance, and beating him, I believe, in the third round via KO. John Jones was then the youngest UFC champion ever at 23 years old. No one has ever seen anything like that before because UFC fighters, their prime a lot of the time is 30, 31, 29, 28, around there, around that age. And John Jones just won the light heavyweight championship at 23 years old. He then went on to get wins you guys most likely already know about against Rampage Jackson. That was very impressive against Lyoto Machida. And I'm still I believe I'm missing some in here. Or no, I am missing some in here. He then went on a run, and then in 2012, John Jones gets arrested for being under the influence while driving and crashing his car around a pole. I don't think this is the actual picture of it. I think this is the picture of another thing that's coming up, actually, I'll mention. But yeah, so already people are wondering why this guy is doing this. He's on top of the world, and he gets arrested for drinking and driving. He then goes on after that to make title defenses against guys like Chael Sonnen, Alexander Gustafsson, and I believe he Daniel Cormier too, their first fight, and I believe a couple other guys. I'm just not going to obviously go through all of them. Then comes 2015. John Jones, once again under the influence, hits a pregnant woman in a hit and run. He hits the pregnant woman in his car. She was in her car. He gets out and runs. I believe he went back to get his drugs he had in the car, but just not looking good for John so far. And people are wondering what this guy's doing. He's on drugs, and he's just not doing good in his career so far. Obviously, very talented, beating all these guys at such a young age and doing something that no one's ever done before. John Jones, me personally, I like his fighting style. I think it's great. He's probably one of the most versatile fighters ever. His striking is amazing. His kicks are good. His boxing is good. His grappling is great. Everything about his fighting style is good. But out of the cage, John Jones isn't a good person. And people are starting to realize that around this time. Then in 2016, John Jones tests positive for steroids, and he has to pull out of UFC 197, I believe. And he ruined an event, and obviously the UFC, they're not proud of him. Everyone's wondering what's happening to this guy's on steroids. He then goes on to fight Daniel Cormier for the second time. He wins that fight via KO with the leg kick. Everyone saw that. That was really nice. But this gets overturned to a no contest. And the reason for that being is because he failed his drug test. And he was on steroids during this fight. And a lot of people are speculating. And I think everyone just knew he's been on steroids most of his career. After this, later, he then goes on to have, this is his last fight at light heavyweight. He then goes on to have a very controversial win. He won this fight against Dominic Reyes, But a lot of people, majority of people thought he lost, and majority of people thought the fight was rigged for him to win. Um, so yes, Jon Jones, he leaves the light heavyweight division on a note like this, where everyone thought he lost. Even the boss man himself, Dana White, said he even thought Dominic Reyes won. We go to 2021, I believe. Let me see. I have my notes here. 2021, Jon Jones, he was charged with domestic battery because he actually, I believe this was after his Hall of Fame. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame. He beat his wife in a hotel room, in front of his daughters too, and was, I believe, on cocaine at this time too. And things have just gone downhill for Jon Jones, and it's not looking good. A lot of people are realizing that he's just not a good person, and he keeps going back to his old ways, and he's not getting better. Now we fast forward to March of 2023, where he submits Ciryl Gane for the heavyweight championship of the world. This was a very dominant performance. He did it, I believe, in only 2 minutes. Everyone's saying he's the GOAT. Even before this, around 2019, after the Dominic Reyes fight, it was already confirmed. Everyone was saying Jon Jones, he's a certified GOAT, and no one can really dispute that. But after this Ciryl Gane fight, people are wondering, what about Francis Ngannou? As you may know, it was originally supposed to be Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones for the heavyweight championship of the world. As you know, Francis Ngannou had his disputes with the UFC and ended up leaving. So there are already talks about Jon Jones ducking Francis Ngannou for I believe the 3 years he was out of the UFC, and that's not a hot take, you know. Francis Ngannou was very dominant, and he came off of beating Ciryl Gane too. And Jon Jones, he waited 3 years to come back, and when he finally came back, it was supposed to be against Francis Ngannou. That was supposed to be the super fight, but Francis Ngannou left the UFC due to their disputes, you know. After Jon Jones beats Ciryl Gane, he then schedules a fight against Stipe Miocic. At first, people are liking this fight, and they're like, okay, it's two GOATs against each other. The GOAT of the heavyweight division and Stipe Miocic versus the GOAT of the light heavyweight division and the GOAT of the sport as a whole. But people start to wonder, why is Stipe getting a title shot after he just came off of getting KO'd 2 years prior to that? And Stipe is also very old. Okay. But they're still going to give him the shot, and I don't think anyone really had a problem about it, but people are starting to talk about it. Jon Jones ends up tearing his pec off of his shoulder, and has to pull out of the Stipe fight at UFC 295. To replace that fight, they do Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich for the interim heavyweight championship of the world. Tom Aspinall knocks out Sergey Pavlovich and gets the W. Obviously, he knocked him out. Obviously, he got the W. And becomes the interim champ of the UFC heavyweight division. Now people are talking because months and months go by. No one's hearing anything from Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall starts talking. A lot of people want Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones next, because what normally happens is whoever has an interim belt is guaranteed to fight the champion next. But Jon Jones doesn't think so. He doesn't believe Tom Aspinall deserves a title shot. A lot of people say he's scared, which I believe he is. We'll get into that in a sec. But Jon Jones doesn't think Tom Aspinall deserves a shot. And People are starting to turn against Jon Jones at this time. A video gets released by someone by the name of MMA Guru. Multiple videos. Is Jon Jones fruity? These videos go viral. 300k views, 600k views, 200k views. These videos go viral. Jon Jones is fruity. Everyone's starting to realize it. I highly recommend you guys watch these videos. They're very educational on Jon Jones, and it's kind of confirmed that he's fruity and he's hiding it. Everyone knows it now. After this all happens, Jon Jones is still sitting out. Tom Aspinall has nothing to do. So the UFC makes him defend his interim belt. Defend an interim belt against Curtis Blades. Now people are really wondering what's happening. Jon Jones isn't fighting who he's supposed to be fighting. A lot of people are even saying that Stipe should have originally stepped in, should have originally still fought at UFC 295, even though he would have fought either Tom Aspinall or Sergey Pavlovich for the interim belt. Because Stipe wasn't injured, only Jon was. So why didn't Stipe fight? We don't know. Or we do know, but, you know. Tom Aspinall defends his interim belt, and now everyone's saying it. Jon Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall even calls out Jon Jones on the mic in a very respectful way. If I was Tom Aspinall, I would not have done it in a respectful way at all. But, you know, it is what it is. Now we're here. UFC 304. Tom Aspinall defeats Curtis Blades, defending his interim belt. We've never seen that before. I don't think that's ever been done before where someone has defended an interim belt, you know. I thought that the real fans know Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades, this was for the actual belt. Now no one respects Jon Jones as the actual heavyweight champion. He is not the undisputed champion anymore. Because you have an interim champ who defended his belt. And also, Dana White comes out and just starts deriding Jon Jones for no reason, out of nowhere, calling him the GOAT. And before all this stuff happened in 2023, 2024, a lot of people considered Jon Jones the GOAT of the sport. But now people are starting to realize that maybe he isn't the GOAT. And maybe he was on steroids most of his career. A lot of his opponents were actually middleweights smaller than him. Someone like Lyoto Machida, way smaller than Jon. Chael Sonnen, a middleweight. I believe Rashad Evans, too. He went to middleweight, too. A lot of guys were smaller than Jon. And anytime Jon Jones fought someone his size, like Dominic Reyes, he lost that fight straight up. You can't tell me Jon beat Dominic Reyes. Like, it was pretty easy to score. Dominic Reyes won that fight. Even against someone like Thiago Santos. That fight was like, nothing happened in that fight. It wasn't like really a one-sided fight. There's an argument that Santos won that. I think Jon probably won, but, you know. And even someone against Gustafsson. Jon Jones struggled a lot with Gustafsson. Anyone his size, he struggled against a lot. And, you know, at this time, people are denying Jon Jones' GOAT status, and Dana White keeps deriding Jon Jones, even getting into arguments with reporters. And he just defends Jon Jones. He will defend Jon Jones until he dies. I don't know why this is happening, even though Dana White before has disliked Jon Jones, but, you know, Jon Jones might have some stuff on Dana White, you know, so you never know. Fast forward, present day. Now it's confirmed Jon Jones, he's a duck. You search up Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. How Tom Aspinall beats Jon Jones. how Tom Aspinall ruined John Jones. Real champ, fraud. John Jones is smart to ignore Aspinall. He probably is, because straight up, I believe he would lose. There has been nowhere where John has said he will fight Tom Aspinall. John Jones even said after his next fight, which we will get into right now, present day, he's rebooked to fight Stipe Miocic next month, November, UFC 309. Tom Aspinall is the backup opponent for this fight. Everyone believes if either of these guys, if Stipe pulls out, if he gets injured, Tom Aspinall will, or John Jones will not fight Tom Aspinall. It's just not going to happen. He's straight up just avoiding Aspinall, and it has ruined his legacy. John Jones is all about legacy, but straight up, his legacy is ruined. If he doesn't take that Tom Aspinall fight, his legacy will be ruined. He will be known as the guy that ducked Tom Aspinall. He will be known as a guy who beat, or we'll see if he beats Stipe. He will be known as a guy who beat an old 40 something, however old Stipe is, man. And yeah, a lot of people are wondering why this Stipe fight is even happening anymore, because since Tom Aspinall has defended his interim belt, which has never been done before. Guess we'll find out what John Jones does. John Jones even said he plans to retire after this fight. I believe John Jones is living in his own world where he thinks everyone will still consider him the GOAT after he ducks Tom Aspinall. I'm just letting you know. John Jones is getting further and further away from being the GOAT. His legacy is being ruined just by him ducking Tom Aspinall. And people are starting to realize that maybe he just wasn't as good as we thought. And maybe he was on steroids his whole career. And anytime he wasn't on steroids, like Dominic Reyes' fight, he didn't do good. And he only fought, and most of his opponents were just smaller than him or middleweights. And yeah, I guess that's the end of the video. John Jones, this is the downfall of him. This fight versus Stipe is a downfall of him. This guy is a downfall of John Jones. People are starting to realize that maybe he's not the GOAT. And if he ducks Tom Aspinall, everyone will know that John Jones, his legacy will end with him being a duck. Peace out, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what else I should do. What other videos I should do. Make sure to put that in the comments. And yeah, John Jones, this is the downfall of him.